theme of Mary Magdalene and Lilith keep coming up in certain things in my life. And I think a lot of that is because, in the Bible, Mary Magdalene is looked at a certain way, and we all know what way that is. But then, when you break down the history of who the Bible was written by, multiple men, and you look into the Gnostic teachings of Mary Magdalene and what she was actually teaching, it was a threat to these patriarchal systems because it went against their desire to be able to have control over the people or have control over their mindsets. And because if you don't have control, then you have a sovereign being, and if you have a sovereign being, then they're looked at as a rebel by individuals that want to be able to control or create some type of fear-based thinking so that there is a need for control. And after, looking into the Gnostic teachings of Mary Magdalene, it was interesting to find that she was actually trying to teach about the energetic body and how people are sovereign and how people can connect directly with this, with the Most High, with their higher selves, and how the need for inner reflection was more profound than being a part of a group or an organization or a religion. And she talked about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and how together they could form an awakening, within themselves and with each other. And so I just, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to let the cards kind of guide me to that, but I wanted to just set that in motion and kind of see where it goes from there. So I'm just going to pull some of my handmade cards today. I haven't done for a while. And then we'll see what happens. Okay. Behind closed doors. Behind closed doors, okay. You are the creator of your reality. This is already mine. The universe responds. These are cards that I rarely pull. That's cool. It's nice to have a little change. Oh, that's a big stack. I think I'll just take a few of them. What are the whispers saying? Let go of old beliefs and conditioning. Reconciliation. So who are we being asked to reconcile? If it's talking about going behind closed doors, when you go behind a closed door, it's something that you don't access very often, or it's kept away, or you keep it away from you. You are the creator of your reality. So what are we hiding behind these closed doors or keeping from ourselves because we are the creator, and what we want is already ours, and the universe is just responding. So what are the whispers saying? What are we needing to let go of? What old beliefs and conditionings are we needing to release in order to reconcile? I'm going to pull a few more, and then forgive and free. Wow, that's interesting. So forgive and free came out in reverse, and reconciliation came right before that. So that is very apparent that something is needing to be reconciled, most likely within ourselves, because this is talking about behind closed doors. You are the creator of your reality. This is already mine. Yeah, this is all about forgiving and freeing ourselves and reconciling with a part of ourselves. Gates. Opportunity, initiation, and thresholds. What's your inner voice communicating in reverse? So once again, this is just, we already, and this goes right underneath what are the whispers saying. So what are the whispers saying? Let go of old beliefs and conditioning. And then what's your inner voice communicating in reverse? So maybe this is saying once you're able to, because, this one in reverse is at the very end. What's your inner voice communicating? So it's like, after you've gone through this process, now what is your inner voice communicating? Once you've let go of old beliefs and conditioning, once you've listened to the whispers, now what does your inner voice say? That's cool. Okay, so we are going to clear these and just the bottom row and put them over here, and then we'll go with, I have this little leaf, Malachi. This is, I had it out, so I have to explain it. This is one of the most profound meditations I had when I was leaving religion. Wow, that's interesting. This reading's about letting go of old beliefs. I had gone out to my backyard and I was contemplating, just our existence and how I felt so secure in nature and less secure in these buildings and, with people that I was supposed to be connecting with and feeling spiritual with. I felt so opposite, and it didn't make sense to me because I even would compare it to that verse in the Bible about the fruits of their labor, and I don't remember exactly how it goes, but I was always like, well, if the fruits of the labor of the church are creating anxiety inside of me, and I'm never feeling good enough, and I'm never feeling whole within myself, then why do I feel better in nature and connecting with the trees and the animals? And I was just sitting there, and I think I have it in my journal. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was thanking the tree for giving me this perspective and giving me this new life. And right then, this leaf, it fell from the tree, and I had my hands open, and it fell into my palm of my hand, and I just remember getting the phrase, "Now you hold life," or "Now you hold I give you life, or I give you life, now you hold life. Something like that. I gotta look at my journal. But it was really impactful and powerful, because it was the whole idea of the tree of life, it's like the roots, and they grow upwards, and then the tree grows and it provides fruit and nourishment, and then it drops down and it re-fertilizes the ground again, or it nourishes us as humans, and then we're able to keep that going. And it showed me where I was blocked, because it was like there was a blockage there, because this religion that I was in wasn't doing that for me. It was like I was offering so much energy, so much time, so much of my emotions and everything into it, but I wasn't receiving the same. So I don't know why I just pulled this out and I didn't know it was in the video frame, but maybe that can help somebody. But okay, so behind closed doors, you are the creator of your reality. This is already mine. The universe is responding, which kind of goes in line with my cat. That's my cat. She's driving me crazy today. Which kind of goes in line with like the idea of the tree, it's like you can trust that if the tree gets the nourishment it needs, then it will respond with the same. And it's with the universe saying this is already mine, the universe responds. It's like knowing that if we're doing our work, if we're putting in the effort, then we can trust that the universe is, going to do the same. And even if it doesn't show in our reality right now, it's in transit at least. And then what are the whispers saying? And then right when I said that, milk and honey came out. Okay, so let's go with, all right, so the first card that came out is chop wood, and it's in reverse. So I always get confused when this one comes out in reverse, because what's that phrase? I'm gonna look it up. I'm just gonna go for it. Chop wood. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. So I guess it's a Zen proverb that has many meanings, but Zen Buddhists believe suffering is part of our human experience we must work to eliminate. Okay, so if this is in reverse, it's maybe saying, what are you holding on to that is creating this suffering inside? Because if it's upright, it's just showing that suffering is part of our experience, but it's our job to work to eliminate it. So if it's in reverse, it's kind of saying, what are we denying? Like, what are we doing to deny, to continue our suffering, I guess. So, I mean, it emphasizes the doing of daily tasks remains the same regardless whether you're enlightened or not, right? The change is in the being and the perspective on those tasks. So instead of seeing them as a burden or a means to an end, they're embraced as part of life itself. What are we not embracing as part of life itself? And where are we needing to find contentment rather than, seeking some type of enlightenment to escape it? And that fell under behind closed doors. So maybe this is saying within our mental framework, this is the root of what needs to be looked at. And then with milk and honey, we have, the land of milk and honey, like that's where we have everything we need. So what this is saying is, in order to get here, this land of milk and honey, we need to embrace this, right? And this is, rather than looking at it as externally, since it's under this behind closed doors card, it's something that's needs to be addressed within ourselves. And then we have, you are the creator of your reality. And then all that glitters in reverse. So I think this is just focusing on, when you say all that glitters, like the phrase all that glitters, what is the phrase? I need to get to know these cards a little bit more. All that glitters isn't, what is it? Is not gold. Okay, that was very simple. I should have remembered that, but my brain is not working on 100 today. So not everything that looks valuable is. So if with this in reverse, it's saying where are we looking at things in the wrong way, or in the way that, like, what is our focus on? Because if we're focusing on the glittery things and what looks good on the external, then we're missing the ability to create the reality that we truly want, because we're not focusing on the right things. Or the thing, I shouldn't say right or wrong, but like we're not focusing on the things that are really going to give us our true fulfillment. And then here and now. So maybe by focusing on these things that don't actually matter, we're missing out on the present. And by missing out on the present, we're not able to create from the heart, right? Because we're not in the heart. I think of the heart as being the most present, because it's the center. It's the middle chakra between the upper and the lower. And when we're in our heart, we're not thinking about what other people think or what other people have. We're not comparing these things, but we're coming at it from a heart-centered place, a rooted place. Okay, so this is already mine, the universe responds. Loyal heart. Yeah, so I think I just get like the universe being like, we're loyal to you, so you need to be loyal to yourself as well. And once you are, then we can offer you what is already yours. Community. Yeah, just like a collaboration. It's, it's the community mentality, getting out of this idea that we're just earthbound beings. There's a community out there that we haven't been taught to access. We haven't even, we've been shown in superhero movies and Star Wars and, all these things that are fun to watch, but there's no connection to that universal magic that is out there. And I think what this is saying, like, if we're the creator of our reality, we need to also know that there is a loyal bond. There's a community tie with something and things that are much bigger than us that are saying, this is yours. So what are you going to do to receive it? What are you going to do in order, and how can we offer it to you if you don't even believe that it's possible? So expanding that, expanding our perspective beyond all that glitters, connecting through the heart. So what are the whispers saying? Let go of old beliefs. Truth be told, the whispers are trying to share the truth. And yin, wow, within. So what's your truth? That's what this is saying. What are the whispers saying? Let go of old beliefs and conditioning. Love when this stuff happens in these readings. This is the card. Let go of old beliefs and conditionings. Then it's saying truth be told and yin. So the truth, it's just re-emphasizing the fact that the truth is within. So buy the book. Let me get this other one. Never ending story in reverse. Okay. So buy the book. Truth be told, go within. This is where you're going to hear the whispers. And this book reference is not a never-ending story. Okay, this just confirms it's bigger than us. It's not just by one book. It's not just by one story. It's not just by, one person's view of how things are. It's so much bigger, which goes right in line with this, the universe responds. We are here. We are here to give you what is already yours, but you need to let go of the excess. You need to let go of the layers that are preventing these gifts from coming in, and finding your truth within. So breaking down the layers, seeing, looking, doing an audit of who is around you and why you believe the way that you do. And, if you felt trapped in those beliefs or those mindsets, like, how can you get out of that? And this is just confirming, because reality is not just based on one book. It's, this one book is the opposite of a never-ending story. It's just one story. I hope I'm explaining that right. Okay, so then I'll pull some tea leaves on that. So we already know that this reading is about our ability to create the life we want and to receive what we want, but knowing that we have to be in our presence, and we also need to trust that there is a loyalty, there is a community, you know, a galactic family out there that wants us to have, wow, just flipped out, wants us to have what we deserve. And we're just being reminded that that starts from within, not externally, from within. And so you are the creator of your reality here and now. And then I got flute, disappointment in a friend or lover. That's an odd one to come out, but here and now. Okay, so maybe what this is saying is, you know, we talked about here and now and then how that connects to the heart. Maybe this is saying that this disappointment in a friend or a lover is affecting our heart. Let's see. And then this is already mine. The universe responds, and I got kangaroo. Unsettled times, need to plan ahead. This is, so what this is showing me is it's showing me the shadows that are blocking these things from happening, right? Because it's like, if I'm the creator of my reality and my heart is blocked to where I can't be present with it, and it could potentially be due to disappointment in a friend or a lover. So that's showing, it's like the reading is showing this is where we need to start. So whoever's listening, this is where you may need to start. Disappointment in a friend or lover, landing on top of here and now. So this could be preventing presence, it could be preventing heart opening. And then this is already mine. The universe responds with kangaroo coming out, and unsettled times, need to plan ahead. It could be saying that because this is the mindset, let's get some more. Unsettled times, need to plan ahead over this loyal heart and community. Beware of great pride. So a lot of the times we can make excuses, right? And they're valid. Like, we live in a world where we need to pay bills and we need to like be in the world. We can't just be floating in the ethers all the time, unfortunately. But so I think what this could be saying is this mentality. It's easy to be like, well, I can't, you know, like I can't just trust in the universe and just like be like, yeah, okay, like I trust that I'm gonna receive what I get back, because like I don't know for sure. That's like a very left brain mentality of logic and reasoning, and something that we've all had to learn to be in to survive. But I think what this is saying is, because of this, you know, this pride, and not in a judgmental way, just I think pride in terms of like, I know what's always worked, so I'm going to continue doing what's always worked. And these, you know, maybe the fear of unsettled times and the feeling of like needing to plan. It's completely opposite of what this message is saying about the universe responding and the universe assuring us that it's loyal to us. But in order to receive that, we need to be open enough with this heart opening right in front of it to receive it. And this can get in the way of that. And not looking at it as a bad, good thing. It's just is what it is, and it's understandable. But if we're wanting to get through that process, this is what's being shown that needs to be looked at. Bridge. Yeah, this is the bridge. This, and it's successfully overcoming a problem. So this just shows that, yes, this is what has worked, but is it making you feel good? You know, is it making you feel connected to these higher realms? And if it's not, this is the way that you can access that. But it takes trust and it takes work. It takes work to go within. It takes work to know that you are the creator of your reality, and sometimes we need to get away from all that glitters and be in the here and now, which will then access our heart and help us open it. And in order to do that, we need to face these pains and traumas we might be holding of friends and family and lovers that have hurt us in the past and have kept us from accessing that. But then once we do, we're able to step into that process of knowing that we can bridge that trust and reality with the universe with that loyal heart. Now the heart becomes open. Now we can be open to the possibilities, and within this find our community. Even here we can find our soul community, our soul family, which, you know, like it's out there. Even if we feel alone right now, and even if we feel like we don't belong anywhere, it's there for us to find it. If we feel like that, then where is that place? And how can we create that? And then it's saying, but just remember that even though this is possible, you can get in your own way. Going back to, you are the creator of your own reality, right? It's like, these things are possible, but you need to trust, because yes, there could, in that transition, there could be times that feel like they're unsettled and you just want to run back and do what you've always done that works. But by doing that, you're just going to go right back into that old cycle. And you need to be aware of that pride, because the pride is what blocks off the heart, and it's what blocks off the bridge that will create this successful, you know, ability to overcome a problem. And then now we're at, what are the whispers saying again? And, you know, going back to that, it's not just one book, it's your book. I mean, it starts with you internally, and the truth is within you. And, you know, we're being asked to get rid of those conditions and those old belief patterns that we've had, and realize that it's bigger than what we've been telling ourselves. Maybe that's what it is. It's bigger than what we've been telling ourselves when it says by the book and never ending story in reverse. Yeah, use your intuition. Use your intuition to make beneficial changes. And in that process, we're going to need to accept valid criticism. And when I see this card within this reading and having it go right under yin, it's like this criticism isn't most likely going to come from other people. It could, right? Especially if we're deciding to leave a community or a belief system that isn't working for us anymore. It definitely could. But most of it is going to come from within us. So Use your inner intuition to make beneficial changes. Do an audit. This is what this reminds me of. Do an inner audit. What are the whispers saying? Let go of old beliefs and conditioning. Seek out information that will help you. Yeah. Successful outcome to your problems. This is the key, right? It's like, seek out the information that will help you. Do an audit of yourself. Go internally. Use your intuition, because that's what it's meant for. And this is the key to your problem. Love it. So that's that. And then we're going to go to the next row. Of reconciliation, forgive, and free. And then gates, opportunity, initiation, and thresholds. And then what's your inner voice communicating in reverse, which we kind of came to the conclusion of it meaning like, now, after we've done all these things, like, now what? Now what is your inner voice saying? How have things changed? Okay, so we'll do the wisdom cards. Okay, so under reconciliation, let's see what these cards have to say. Time for a nap. And breathe. Wow, okay. Whenever I see that card, I feel the need to take a big breath. So after we've gone through that whole process of, that inner audit and figuring out what's truly important to us, then we come to reconciliation and time for a nap and breathe. So, I imagine it like if we were being asked to reconcile with ourselves or with others, I don't feel like it would say these, time for a nap and breathe. I feel like it would be more like go talk to this person, or, so with that reconciliation and time for a nap and breathe, that just reminds me, it's like we're being asked to reconcile with ourselves, with our true selves. And in order to do that, we need to spend time with that part of ourself. And we need to, the breath is the strongest. The breath helps regulate our heart. It is literally how we can calm our nerves and be in that present moment. And so I think what this is saying, yeah, and then my leaf is sitting right above it. So maybe go sit under a tree, and because the trees offer the oxygen that goes into our lungs and helps us to breathe in that air that gives us life. And so maybe even go take a nap under a tree. That sounds amazing. So let's get a few other cards for that. By the book. Number 11. Reconciliation, time for a nap, breathe, by the book. Oh. Flexible. Yeah, okay. So maybe this is saying, don't be so rigid with yourself. Don't be so, don't go, even me speaking and giving this reading, don't take it as like the path, right? Don't take it as the only way to do it. We're being asked, when we are the creator of our own reality, we take information that works and then we build something new with it. It's like using the ingredient. It's like everything that we access is like an ingredient to our recipe. And so by going within, by taking this resting energy, this breathing in, breathing out, resting, we're being asked to be flexible and create our own book, our own story. Because other people's story is just that. It's other people's story. It's not ours. And we have the ability, we are the creators of our reality. So we're being asked to reconcile within ourselves and be flexible and loving and gentle and give ourselves grace in that process, because it's not easy and it's messy sometimes. Yeah, this is how we access this new life, this new part of ourselves. We can't write the story. We can't access those higher, connections if we're not breathing, if we're not resting in it, because we're just, I need to do this, or this doesn't make sense, so I need to strategize on this. And we've been taught to do that. And it's not a bad thing, because we have constantly been in survival. And our culture doesn't support rest. It doesn't support being alone, even. It doesn't support breathing. It's kind of nuts. Like when you think about all the things that could bring us back into peace are not offered in our external reality, are not looked at as valuable or, I don't know, like successful. They're looked at, it's totally inverted, a lot of the things in our world. So, but what this is saying is, by reconciling with our inner world, by reconciling with that breath, that the rhythms that flow through the earth, then being flexible in that process and not rigid, we are able to create that new life that we're wanting. Next is forgive and free. The fates. There's a story of the fates. Just one story. I'm sure the fates have their own story. In Greek mythology, the fates, also known as the Moirai, are three sister goddesses who determine the course of human and even divine lives. They are personifications of destiny and are responsible for spinning, measuring, and cutting the thread of life, signifying birth, lifespan, and death. Their names are Clotho, the spinner, Lachesis, the measurer, and Atropos, the inflexible one. So Clotho spins the thread of life, right, representing the beginning. Lachesis, I'm probably saying these wrong, measures the thread, determining the length of a person's life and their fate. So Clotho spins the thread. Interesting. Clothes, and Clotho. Clothes are made of thread. Lachesis measures the thread, determining the length of a person's life and their fate. And then Atropos cuts the thread with her shears, signifying the end of life and the transition to the underworld. It reminds me of like this death and rebirth process. So with it going under forgive and free, it's almost like, okay, so here, the fates are seen as powerful figures whose decisions are not easily overturned, even by the gods. They represent the inevitability of fate and the limitations on free will within the Greek mythological framework. So it's about free will, reflecting on the passage of time, and forgive and free. Free will, reflecting on the passage of time. So just, I think, it just goes with it. Forgive and free. We have lived what we have, and we've done what we've done, but that doesn't have to define who we are today and who we are tomorrow and for the rest of our lives. And that goes back to what I was saying about the death and rebirth process. There are continual death and rebirths within one life. I mean, unless you're staying stagnant and you haven't changed a single thing, a single perspective in your life, unless that's the case. But most likely, most people have gone through those dark nights of the soul where it's like, that one part of you or a big part of you has to die in order for a new part of you to begin. And in order to do that, we have to forgive parts of ourselves that maybe we hold on to as punishment, maybe due to like cultural things or religious, or even like our family and how their mentality is and how we've learned to be. We feel the need to punish ourselves and to stay stagnant because it's what we deserve, or we tell ourselves we just can't because I don't know how to, and so we just leave it at that. And what this is saying is, no, like there is this process of threading a new life, starting this new existence and measuring what that looks like, and walking that path and understanding that there is a transition that we need to go through, which is sometimes painful, but it's just part of the process. And instead of looking at that as a wall or a blockage, or, well, I can't do that because of this, or I don't deserve that because I've done this. It's like you're being asked to forgive and free yourself, because that is a prison that you've put yourself in. And that's coming right after this reconciliation with self and going inwards and doing the reflection and breathing into it and this new life that can come from it. Ooh, I have chills. To be fair, this just reminds me of like, I don't know, like I think the universe giving grace. It's like this idea that, it's like when you're on medication and people are like, yeah, you have this wrong with you, or you're telling yourself that, or I have this wrong with me. It's like, is it really something that's wrong with you, or is it our crazy world that we live in, that You know, we are so forced to change parts of ourselves and to dismiss parts of ourselves so that we can function, when in reality, it's not something that's wrong with us. It's something that's wrong with the structures and the systems and these ridiculous standards that this world has shoved on us and put pressure on for so long and gotten worse and worse over time. And sometimes we do things that we're not proud of when we're in survival, or when we're feeling like we need to be somebody or we need to have something. And some of the decisions that we made in the past aren't decisions that we would make now. But does that mean that we have to punish ourselves and stay in that process? Or can we go through this rebirth? Are we holding ourselves back from getting there because we haven't been able to forgive and free ourselves from this old way of thinking? Next is gates: opportunity, initiation, threshold, yin. The gate is within. This is like so in line with this whole reading. It's like this initiation into this is not something that's going to come from an external source. An external source is not going to know you as much as you know you. And knowing that you are divine, and knowing that you have multiple layers. You're not just you here. You have been in many lifetimes. There is a higher you. It's called the higher self. And I would research it if you don't know what that is. And it just basically is you in your truest form that you can access here. You can access through asking and being ready to receive more. Like, I am ready. I access my higher self. I merge with my higher self. I am ready to live on my highest timeline and merge with this higher being that I know is there, that will guide me and lead me in the direction that I need to go. Here, chop wood again in reverse. So, yeah, it's just saying, like, go within. I don't know why that card always stumps me. It's just, you know, you chop wood when you're ascended, you chop wood when you're not. Like, but then to have that in reverse, I don't know, like, I'll let the interpretation of whoever's. Okay, the observer. Wow. And I just said the higher self. We are the observer. So going within, chop wood in reverse. I don't know, like, maybe not accepting that, like, things are always gonna be like, I don't know. How to fall in love with maybe things don't always have to be a struggle. Maybe that's what it's saying in reverse. And like being the observer of this is being your higher self. Like, that's what I'm getting. But it may make, may mean something different for somebody else. A change in the wind. Yeah, so this is the initiation. It's like being the observer and trusting that there is this change that can happen, even if it's not happening right away. It's like knowing that it's coming and like stepping out of it, like stepping out of the emotions of it. It's that divine, like the detachment, like not being so attached to an outcome, not completely being apathetic and disconnected, because that can come from trauma response that, I'm sure many of us have experienced. But this is more like stepping out, being the observer, trusting that there's more to come in this initiation, more opportunities as we're accessing this higher self energy and going with this wind, like going with the change in the wind. And knowing that it's coming, even if it's not already here. Okay, so the last one. What's your inner voice communicating in reverse? Leg up. So this just popped out and landed on observer. So going back to the gates, the initiation from within. This connecting with our higher self, I feel like what this is saying is connecting with our higher self is going to be the thing that gives us this leg up. So if we're looking for like, gosh, this is a lot of work and like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, and it's a lot of inner work, this is offering somebody just a little, heads up, like, look, start here. Go be the observer of your life, but go at it from a higher perspective. Be willing to access that. If you don't know a lot about it, look it up, research it. There's a lot of stuff on higher self. The higher self is a concept referring to a deeper, wiser, and more connected aspect of an individual's consciousness, often contrasted with everyday ego-driven self. It's seen as a source of intuition, guidance, and a connection to something greater than oneself, sometimes described as divine or universal consciousness. So if we can access that and we're able to look at our life without judgment and with that grace and the observer mentality, then that is pure awareness. And then from there, we're not always going to be able to access our higher self. We're going to be in it. So, but if we know that we can access that, and if we know that we can go back to that and then kind of go back into the normal world and then go within, do the breathing, sit under a tree, access that higher self mentality, then it's almost like we become our own guide in that process. Even though it's like, it's us, we're allowing ourselves to think higher in those moments, and we don't always have to be there, but at least we know that we can be there in that process, and that is our leg up. That is what is going to help us in that initiation. I love how this all worked out. It's just like a circuit. It's like we're going like full circle. Deep knowing. This is the deep knowing. This is This is the way. Okay, what's your inner voice communicating in reverse? So now this is the last card. This is the one where it's saying, so now what? Now that we've gone through, you know, these steps, now what do we do? What does, whoa, holy cow. Okay. Thinker. Now we can think more clearly, maybe? And then 3 cards like flew out and landed under forgive and free. So, wow. Okay, so the first one is orphaned. Many times we go through things because we go through things and we've made decisions. And this is, oh God, I love this. I love when this. So this goes back to the fates, right? It's like the whole death and rebirth process. Under how can we forgive ourselves and free ourselves in this process? And to be fair, right? It's like, well, to be fair, life hasn't been so easy. So don't be so hard on yourself. Sometimes some of us have felt this way. We've felt orphaned, like nobody can understand us. Like, you know, there's no way I can be my true self because people won't accept me. I've had, like, I'm thinking out loud for other people. Like, I've had situations where I've tried to be in my truest form and I'm not accepted, I'm made fun of, or I'm ostracized, or I'm orphaned. And this is now saying never ending story up, right? So this may have felt like this has been your whole life. This may have felt like this is who you are, which is why it might be hard to try to trust in a new way of doing things or a new perspective, because you have felt orphaned and you have felt the need to basically sacrifice yourself, your truest form, in order to fit into this community, right? So many of us do that. It's natural. It's human nature. When a community is built on being a certain way or fitting a certain mold, and we don't want to be orphaned, we don't want to be alone, we tend to sacrifice who we are to fit into these spaces. And we get to the point where it's almost like so natural for us to do that we don't even know we're doing it anymore. We've been trained and we've seen other people do it around us, so we just assume that that's just part of life, is putting away those parts of ourselves to be, that will make us feel orphaned, to be someone else. And then we're being asked to mend that. Get back to, I keep getting chills, because mending came out right under the gates initiation opportunity, where I was talking about the higher self, connecting with our higher self, being the observer, and just giving ourselves the space and the grace and the peace to access that, and to know that we have just been survivors in a life that was never built for us to be in our truest form. Now we can build that. Now we can build that community by connecting with these higher energies and creating this, heaven-like place on earth. Whether that's through a digital community, whether that's through a physical community, we have that ability. But I'm getting emotional. I don't know why I just got emotional. I do know why. Because I feel this so strongly. Dang. That came out of nowhere. But in order to, get through that process of forgiving ourselves and freeing ourselves and connecting back with our heart and reconciling, this creates that bridge that to the initiation and the mending of what matters most, which is getting back to ourselves and our hearts and building a community that is built on fairness and love and support between worlds. Yeah. So this is that, what is your inner voice communicating? We're being asked now to think about this, and we're being asked to step from the old, forgiving ourselves into freeing ourselves and mending those things that have kept us from being there and getting there. That's so beautiful. And this is where we will find our regeneration. This is our regeneration. We're regenerating into new. And now we're stepping into it poised. We're stepping into it knowing that it's ours. Just like the beginning, just like the card here said, this is already mine. It's already yours. So once we become regenerated, we know it's ours. And we know we deserve it. No matter what our past has, been, and no matter what decisions we may have made when we were in a state where we didn't know better. Now we do know better. Now we've connected the dots. Now we've sent love to those parts of ourselves that were broken. We've mended them. And we've started this initiation with our higher self. And this is what our inner voice is communicating. And we know that we deserve it. And we can be poised, knowing that we deserve it, because we're not asking for external validation. We're not asking someone else if we deserve it. We're stepping into it, knowing that we deserve it, because we know we've done the work, and we know that we've always deserved it. We just needed to get back there, and we needed to remember. And this is how we will have an increase in material wealth or spiritual growth. This is... I'm trying not to say this is the way, because I keep saying it. Handshake, yeah. We're creating an understanding, an understanding. We know this is ours. This is the handshake. This is the deal, you know, with the universe, with our higher selves, with our spiritual growth. Okay, I'm going to close this out. So is there anything? Okay. Deep knowing, and then deep misunderstanding on top of that in reverse. So yeah, this deep knowing is a return to inner standing. It is, we know, we understand, overstand. It's within us. We don't have to, going back to what I just said, don't, be comfortable knowing that you're not going to go, you may not, on this path, you may not be able to go to a guru or a priest or a preacher or a bishop or whatever it is that maybe in the past you were able to go to for external confirmation. This is being told that as the initiation, as the poised person who knows their worth and knows their path, most people that are like that are not going to be going to somebody else to get that validation. That's going to come from within them. They're going to be, because they chose that, because they chose to be their own initiator. They chose to be their own person that has the power to validate themselves. They don't need external validation. So what this is saying is walk that wall on your own. Be the one that you don't need a path. You don't need to follow. You're the trailblazer. Because that is going to be where you're going to find your highest self. That is going to be where you're going to be the most poised. Because when we're constantly needing validation or confirmation from people around us that may not even be at the level we're at or may not even have the same goals we have, it's going to distract us from the path that we're meant to be on. How? And then this other card flew out. Arrow, you are on the right path. Yes. So confirmation. Yes. Oh my God. I didn't even see these when I was talking, but it's okay. A basket in reverse. Recognition, reward for merit. You're not going to have recognition for this. Don't look for it. Don't look other than with your higher self and potentially spirit guides that come into your life that are there for a reason, animal guides, synchronicities, but sometimes gurus, leaders that aren't in line or aligned with your path are not going to give you what you're looking for. And then all that's going to do is create a distraction to something else. When you're on this initiation process of being in your highest power, when you're aligning with your role, not their role or his role or her role, yours, you're not going to get recognition for it. So don't look outside of yourself. Look within yourself. Compliments from an admirer just fell in my lap. So I'm wondering, because it's completely opposite, right? This is saying don't look for recognition. And then this is saying compliments from an admirer. Maybe this is the journey, right? It's like the pathway that we've gone through. So it's almost like, and the fact that this fell on my lap, it's like, this will come. But don't look for this. It's the paradox. So it's like saying, when you focus on this, it creates a different reality. When you're focused on the compliments and the recognition, it actually puts you on a different path, which is not your path. But if you take these steps and you don't look for recognition, it will take you in alignment. You will know that you are on the right path. But then in the end, because this landed on my lap, it wasn't part of the read up here. In the end, you will get your flowers. In the end, there will be recognition, but that's not what you're wanting to focus on. Because if you focus on it, it will actually take you in a different direction from where you need to be. Yeah, and this will create a wish not granted by going on a different path, by looking for recognition. This will not bring you your wishes. But if you go on the path that you're meant to go on, I love these paradoxes, like these cards coming out like that mean the opposite things, but I understand what it's saying. If you go it within, if you are aligned, and if you're not focusing on the recognition as your motivation, that is what will bring in the good luck and the good fortune. So, okay, I'm just gonna pull a few more cards and then animal totems. This came out earlier and I put it back. Okay, something about animals. Look at the synchronicities, the patterns that animals are coming in with right now. That means something. Animal energy empowers. And if you need to get more information on animal totems and animal spirit guides, you can find a lot of information on that online. The healing heart. This message, it's all so that, that's a 9 and a 9. It's like the number of endings and new beginnings. Yeah. And then emotional desert in reverse. Inactivity, isolation. So it's like this path is connecting you back to your heart, and this, and there's a lot about community that came out in this read. So I think, for those that are feeling that emotional desert right now, that are feeling orphaned, it won't be like that forever. And this reading is like asking us to like connect back with nature, connect back with ourselves. Don't focus on what you don't have externally, because there's a reason why it's not there. Sometimes these initiations, what feel like we're being orphaned, what feel like we're being deserted, is actually there for our protection. So, it's not rejection, it's redirection. Taking those situations that feel painful, but knowing that they're actually there for our benefit, because we have, in order to be initiated, in order to go through that initiation process of connecting back with the higher self and the higher realms, we can't be surrounded by toxicity. We just can't. It doesn't work. It creates this constant war within us because we know what we need to do, and we have people or things in our lives that are actually creating some other scenarios or situations that are keeping us distracted from what we are meant to do and what we're meant to be. Archangel Haniel, joy, blessings, and intuition. So maybe connect with the archangels, connect with, if you're needing guidance, connect with the animals, connect with nature, and know that even though it may feel like an emotional desert right now, you may feel isolated and orphaned, this is all for your healing. And it's not such a negative thing. It feels negative and it feels painful, and that's part of that process of purging and getting back to self. But it's not meant for us to stay there forever. So, and then at the bottom of the deck, and then I'll stop. But I love this. At the bottom of the deck, there's shamanic healer and elementals, nature spirits, shamanic healer. Get into nature so that you can heal your heart. It's all together. It's all in line. So hope this helped, and I'll get on again soon.